Hi, this is Tanmay Shah, and you're listening to the Rocklaz Radio. Welcome to our first episode called Counting Words. That we have with us Laura Grinberga. She's a versatile model, artist, well read, well experienced, over 10 years of experience in modeling, and a very amazing and sweet person. Today we are discussing about books and podcasts and what we have read. So hence count your words. So welcome. So it's a very nice topic and glad to have you. I'm just opening up my library, so I know what to talk about.
Perfect. So, is there anything particular that you've been reading or listening this week, especially?
Couple of minutes on tools of titans and a podcast Freakonomics, and there's another thing which I hear, which is an app of art of living, and there's a lot of Indian spiritual talks.
I know Art of Living. My mom is with Art of Living. Oh my God.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. By the way, the link you sent me, Freakonomics session about art, was insane. I mean, I knew Amy Capellazzo because she's just a gangster woman in art. Cruel world, and she's really gangster, but I loved the session.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much. Let me just put it up on Pinnit because it's fantastic, really. So copy.
Okay,
I've
so
been
I'm on. Yeah, that's a lovely podcast. The previous episode of this was from the art collector's point and art market of art and stuff like that. And the next episode is going to be about NFTs and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited, and this is the best podcast. If you search Google search on best podcast, economics will come on top.
Yeah. I love. Oh wait, trying to pin it, but probably I have saved something wrong. Yeah. I really love the Economist podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Financial Times.
Uh-huh.
It's daily and it's like very concise. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take too much time, and I love that one. And then there is application Finimize,
Mm-hmm.
which also updates you about all the economics and business thing around the world.
For economics, there's Econ Talks as well, which is a University of Boston or some place like that. So it talks about all economics and business stuff. And podcasts. Okay. So there is. I'll just mention a couple of my favorite podcasts. So there's one called Akimbo, A Akimbo. It's a podcast by Seth Godin. It's
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's a marketing guru,
Yeah,
and
I know him.
awesome.
I have read his books actually.
The
I didn't
Purple
know he
Cow.
has. Yeah.
Which book?
Um, I will tell you just 1 second. Let me open my books.
So you read books on digitally or physical books?
The Dip and This Is Marketing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually I started reading on my phone, just reading because I obviously love the physical books, but then I was traveling every week and I just would bring 3 or 4 books, which is obviously a lot for every travel. And then I just started using my phone, and I loved the phone, the fact that you can actually underline the things that you love and you can just find them easily. Whereas if it's a physical book, you have to like search page by page where was it and what was written, and after that I evolved into listening to audiobooks, which is like
Even better.
I yeah, I prefer listening if it's very like I have to be really concentrated on what it is, and then I prefer reading it.
I prefer listening anytime over reading, and reading digital over physical. So I have left physical books many, many years ago. And I have books on Amazon and their Kindle app. And many a times, if audiobook is not available for that particular book, I get the digital version and use this tool called Talkback. So the phone reads out to you, but it is not as good as Audible audiobooks, but it works out. It is that application was basically made for to assist blind people. So
Ah.
so it reads anything on screen. So app's name, whatever you tap, things like that. So
Oh, that's very useful actually.
yeah.
And do you use iBooks or the Audible or which one or
So
any other?
yeah, Kindle. I use the Kindle app of Amazon, and
Mm-hmm.
most of my digital books are from there. Audiobooks are from Audible, and most of my books are audiobooks. So it has Audible has different marketplaces. So half of my books are on US marketplace, half of them are on Indian marketplace. So sometimes if you don't get a title somewhere, just go in a different country's marketplace and check it out.
Ah, okay, yeah, I got it.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, I actually noticed there was my friend from Brazil who was recommending me one book, and I couldn't find it because my country was Italy, like the Apple country, and I couldn't find it. And now I actually, because you can't really change the country unless your subscriptions have finished. So as I bought a new phone, they gave me TV for 2 years or a year, I don't remember, and it's going to expire next year. So I couldn't change my country yet, and it's
So you're
like
talking about the Audible app or your iPhone app?
the so what I was saying was that
No, no, the country thing issue is occurring in which app? The Audible app or some
the
other app?
Audible, no, sorry, the Apple Books.
Ah, in Audible, you can change the country. Like it's a different
Yeah.
subscription, but you can do that.
No, I have also Audible, and actually, since I discovered Audible, I'm not reading anything anymore in Apple Books, but I still have like loads. I think I have like 600 euros of books on my Apple Books.
Wow.
Literally.
So you're a avid reader. My first impression, which I got of you, was your list of books which you read in 2021. That post on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. So you're such a
Um,
versatile person, well-read model. Okay, let me do a introduction in a podcast style, so I can record this and put this as my first episode of podcast. Are you cool with
oh,
that?
yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. So, guys, welcome to our first episode called Counting Words. And we have with us Laura Grinberga. She's a versatile model, artist, well read, well experienced, over 10 years of experience in modeling, and a very amazing and sweet person. And today we are discussing about books and podcasts and what we have read. So, hence, count your words. So, welcome.
Amazing. Perfect. You're a pro. You get that.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. How are you, my friends?
Very good. How are you?
Cool. Sunday with a lot of sun here in Spain. Yeah, cool.
So nice. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, you are a box of surprise, and thank you, Tamay, for these tips and the podcast channel. Yeah, it's really cool.
So this is Galiano. He's from Spain. He's a very versatile artist as well, very active and supporting everybody in the community. So, welcome to you too.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here with all of you, and yeah, nice to talk about books. It's yeah, you surprise me as always every day. So yeah, today I was reading a very interesting, cool physical book in this iPad times, and yeah, it's my parents giving to me as a present, and it's the artist's way and a spiritual path of higher creativity from Julia Cameron. It's really cool. It's something apart from the theory I used to read from the books of the university. I'm in the second course of fine arts, and yeah, it's completely different, of course. But yeah, it's sometimes these theories are necessary. Just to share with you within this beautiful channel. Thank you very much for the time, and yeah, and to talk about books and
Absolutely.
how necessary they are for us. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And how far are you with the Artist's Way? Because I actually started reading, and I got to no, I got to only the eighth, ninth track, which I don't know, from 39. So I'm quite at the beginning.
Yeah, me too. It's recently. I'm just in the week 4. Yeah, and yeah, just all those first chapters about how you need to protect your artist. You got inside. Yeah, all those. Well, at the beginning, all those. Struggles or scares you got about the artist's way, but yeah, it's really interesting, in my opinion. But of course, I'm in the beginning. I don't know, but well, it's the 16th edition, so yeah, need to be something interesting inside, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Artist way, right?
Tanmay, is there any book on arts that you're reading? Art theory or art suggestions or anything?
Um, I have to think about it, but not really. My most of my art information comes from YouTube. So visual, I get to have visual the process and thoughts about it. But definitely, I'm looking forward to get suggestions from you to read about a person's an artist thought process or background, because I've seen videos on biography videos about Van Gogh, Picasso, a couple of more artists like that. So it was very nice to see that. So a book would be a more in depth view on that. So looking forward to it.
Let me just pin this one. Edit pin link. Okay, should be right. So this is a book, The War of Art, and it's about obviously the blocks and also the
This is
the
a fun name.
regime.
War of
Pardon?
Art. This is
No,
a fun
it
name
sounds
because
very,
I have read
yeah.
the book Art of War.
Yeah, that is a little bit different because it talks obviously about strategy and everything, Sun Tzu. But this one is exactly about artists and the creative blocks, the regime, the discipline. And it's very inspiring. I have read it twice, but I would definitely read it again and again and again. And it's short, it's inspiring, and I love it.
Awesome. I'm just checking if it is available on Kindle. Okay, I'll do that. Yes, it is. Awesome.
I got a question, Laura.
Yes.
Is as spiritual as the book I'm reading now, or is more practical?
It's both of the ways because obviously we have we are soul in a physical body. So this book is both about your need of being of your like essential need of being an artist, and also why you are an artist, because you need to give and you need to release something, and you need to create. So it goes hand in hand with the discipline and how actually overcome maybe even your fears as an artist, and just go ahead. And I think this book is really nice. It's not heavy. You won't get anything new, but probably it's old known truth. But sometimes it's good to get reminded of the old truth, and just have that kind of push. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm asking this because yeah, it's some a lot of question about to have your God inside the art world. I don't know why they are mixing this. I don't understand. This is the most you know yeah, reading every day color theories from Joseph Albert, for example, or from Bauhaus, or from really cool art theories that have been demonstrated during all this year. Well, of course, nothing is pure in art. I don't know why they mix here the most of time the concept of religion inside the art. That's why I ask you, because I rather prefer. I of course I understand that you really need to have your soul clear to create art. Of course, for maybe it's sometimes it's necessary to write and let people know about that. But for me, it's something like the 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 same day from the beginning is giving me that inspiration and that soul. I don't really necessary to it's like a well, you feel an artist from the beginning. It's like the artist born or is down or it grows. So it's for me it's both, but you know from the beginning that you are an artist and your soul is from an artist. Sometimes but yeah, it's good to have that lesson. But well, for me it's better, maybe it's better than read all those things, just to live apart from the city, having a regular time for um, being a part of all those FOMO or times or stress or something like that. And yeah, and that happens without no alone. I don't know if I'm explaining properly. Sorry. Sometimes I translate directly from Spain, from Spanish, but yeah, uh, I prefer honestly to read more theories and at the same time sociology, that not to mix spirituality in the art that well it depend of you, not and your beautiful soul you have inside as creator. It's well, I understand. I see that way, but of course, it's a point to write and of course to read about. Thank you for your opinion.
Thank you, Galiano. Uh, if you're talking about creative books, there is another one which I would like to suggest. It's called Big Magic. Have you read that? Big Magic?
Nope. Who is the author?
Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, okay. But is it like self-development or is it more a poem?
It's a full book about creativity. So she's a writer, and she talks about her artist blog and how ideas travel and amazing ways to get ideas and stuff like that. So she treats ideas as human or living or some living entity. So you need to be ready for them, or once they come, you need to catch them and just execute them, not hold on till next time and stuff like that. So big magic, creative living beyond fear. That's the title of the book.
Big Magic. I think she was a guest at Tim Ferriss' show.
Yeah, I'm sure she would be.
And I think I even, yeah, so she spoke about this book. She spoke about her experience and past and how everything evolved. And she mentioned this book. I just have never read it.
You can, you know what I do about when I get book suggestions and all that? I go to YouTube, I check the summary.
No way.
I if I like it, then I go and read in detail. So you can try that.
I actually could do that.
So I was talking about the Akimbo podcast. So Seth Godin is an amazing person, and he has a very different way of thinking. He relates ideas from uh, different fields together, and with such a great logic to what he says. So it's pretty awesome. It's a monologue. He does his research and talks about it, and then takes questions at the end. But brilliant episode, always fresh and something new, something very factual to learn from this person.
So I have a question to both of you. When is the moment that you read during the day?
For me, it is before going to bed, or the most focused I feel for reading book is when I'm driving. So that's the most, or when I'm doing some chores, so I can listen to them. That's the most focus I have while reading books. Otherwise, I have to keep rewinding and listening again.
I personally can't read before the sleep because then I'm really tired and I would just not hear anything or understand. It's kind of before going to sleep, I just like to unwind and just turn off everything and just have like silence around me, just like releasing everything and not being concentrated on anything. But usually uh, I can read from the morning, but most of the time while I'm commuting or walking or doing exactly like you said, chores. Yeah, that is the best way
Yeah,
for
exactly.
me.
Commuting is the best time. Traveling or listening or walking or doing exercise. So that's the best time which I have found. And what do you think, Galiano? What is it for you?
I'm in the same position as Laura. It's for me. It's so difficult to read before to go to sleep. And yeah, I tried sometime, but I just got the conclusion that I don't know what I read the day before. So it's better not to, yeah, to find another way. And for me, living in countryside is like. The time after lunch is, as I told you, is really beautiful right now. Even being December right now, is the sun is shining and maybe the temperature is 18 or 19, and if you put in the sound, you got your 25 easily, so it's really good to read at this time, no? And you understand everything. For me, of course, for sure. But yeah, I rather prefer that time.
And do you make any notes while you read?
I put
The-
bookmarks, and until my experience till now, I have marked, highlighted, done everything, but I've never got chance to go back to it and read those. What about you?
I usually So when I was still reading the text in Apple Books, and I was marking and underlining things and actually writing even ideas about the things, I tend to go back, and because I when I mention the book, I like to take some good quotes to just tell people like, oh my god, listen to this is amazing, you know. For example, one of my favorites is Hermann Hesse Siddhartha book, and I have like literally every page there is something underlined, and I just can open any moment, and it's just so helpful for myself sometimes, you know. The audiobooks, obviously there is no chance for me to underline anything, and I'm not sure if I can. Oh, now there is a function in Audible that you can actually probably save that second. But I have what I have done before when there was not a possibility to do the bookmark, I would just do the screenshot and send to people. For example, there was this audiobook I really love about health and lifestyle, but it's not only health, it's just habits and little daily hacks that really change our life in a long term. So for example, the fresh air, the clean air, even in your bedroom, or if there are any allergies, like most of the people haven't done the allergy test, but which is very important, because in the time of 25 years or 30 years it can create like cancers and many different stuff, because obviously the body is taking this for so long that something is gonna give in, you know. And so I have been like screenshotting the book with the screen videoing the thing and sending to my friends. Let me just find it. And it was, I think it was Dr. Hyman. 1 second, I have to find
That's
it.
a cool way even to remember it. So once we note them down or type it again to forward it to somebody, it makes a repeat and a good impression on ourselves as well.
Exactly. Let me just find it. What about you, Galiano?
Well, as a painter, well, more drawing as a painter, I used to always have in my pockets a little pencil. I try to always have a little papers book with me as well to make any drawing in any situation. This is so really cool at the time to set up an artist project, no? And well, you know, right now we are thinking in more in iPads, in application, in all these things, but yeah, the traditional way it was always a pencil and a paper book, a little one. So yeah, for me always was so useful to underline those interesting notes and have that margin on top to write your thoughts about it. So yeah, that's I I I I I used to do that. So at that time, as you mentioned before, that you read that book the second time is so it's so good to find out as well your opinion at that time, and maybe you read that book 5 or 10 years ago, and how you change your mind at that point, or maybe was helpful to growing at that same way, or yeah, it's uh it's sometimes it's a really cool surprise to read that note more than when you know the underline to make a work for the university that is like just to make a resume. But I love that uh, that topic in your own books, and the books you are really um, loving at that moment reading
Galiano, can I ask you what since how many years have you been an artist? And secondly, which is the book which you have read many times?
Well, sorry, I didn't understand you. The first question, how long?
How long have you been an artist? Since how many years are you an artist or
Okay,
practicing
sorry.
art?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I finished when I finished the basic education here in Spain. I always was drawing, and even I at that time I won some quiz, no, some small quizzes in the neighborhoods about drawing and everything. But I was a bad student at that time, so I couldn't get the note. From 16, I was drawing, and I got a lot of draws, but I couldn't go inside the university because the qualification, and yeah, that's why at my 47 right now, I'm in the second course of fine arts because I wanted to make it well, that title and everything. But during these last 20 years, I was working in the website industry, always being creative, from making a logotype, from
So you
well,
have been
whatever.
into art since over 30 years and doing everything creative things. That's so cool. And what is the book Galiano? And even I wanted to ask Laura, which is a particular book that you have read for the most times, repeat like two, three, or more times.
Sure. It was at that time, maybe at my 18s or something like that, when I discovered the Paulo Coelho's Alchemist, and I read it 2 or 3 times in Spanish, and then as I read a lot of sometimes many times this book, when I moved to England, it helped me a lot to buy the same book in English. So yeah, my first year in England without
So
speak any.
Alchemist is a very nice book, and I always like the message in it that what you're going out to search for is already there in your place or within you. So like search inside rather than outside or something like that. What are your takes on Alchemist, Laura, and which is the book which you have read the most number of times?
Right. So I actually read Alchemist only a couple of years ago because I thought it's so so popular that you mean it's too mainstream. And what I really love is the book that I mentioned, Hermann Hesse, Siddhartha, and I think every time I read it, and the first time I read it, it was like 12 years ago. Every time I read it, it's something else and something new, and it's about life, like the journey, because the book is actually a journey of a person and intertwined with the family, with the freedom, and how much you can actually decide for somebody else, and how much you actually can't decide for those who you love, but they have the right to decide and freedom to decide for their own life and the results. So that is definitely a book that I love, and I find it spiritual
Can
and
you pin it
just.
on top?
Oh yeah,
Siddhartha, right?
let me do that. Yes, let me just do it very quickly.
There is
And
another
literally,
book
as is.
on the same lines. One second, let me read the title to you. A biography, autobiography of a yogi. Have you read that?
No.
Autobiography of a yogi. So I'll pin that too. So it's about a yogi from India, and how he becomes a yogi and his different spiritual experiences, and then he goes to US, and it's a nice read.
But it's exactly about yogis, right?
I- it's not
Because
about yogis as directly. Is my mic on? Yeah. So it's not about it's a life of a yogi, but a lot of experiences and thought process and philosophy he shares are interesting.
I'll definitely go and hear the preview about it. The other book that is insane, and I have read it in 1 year, and in 1 year I have read it 5 times, I think. And the name is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. So it's a very practical book about negotiations. And negotiations happen. Just let me copy the link.
Nice name for a book which is called which is on negotiation.
No, honestly, like we always negotiate with our partner, like in private life, with our children, with our business partner, with everybody. There is a negotiation, want it or not, there is. And this book is just insanely amazing of the ways how to do it better way, but not only in very selfish way, but also in a way that both can win, you know. So I really love this book. Let me just pin it.
Yeah, negotiation is not about just winning and grabbing. It's a balance, right? In those ways, you have to be willing to give away some points as well.
Yeah, totally. And I really loved the George Orwell 1984.
I've heard about it, and I want to read it. It's about the future and how the world is going to end, sort of, right?
Literally, it's like it's never ending. And I mean, you can apply, it's like genius who was living almost like before the time then it happened, and you can apply it to any moment. And it's about rather political regime, about the freedom and not freedom, you know. And it's just limitless peace, honestly.
Yeah, he wrote it in 1949 or 1950, and points in it are still applicable. I've heard that a lot. I need to read it now. Yes, thanks
Oh,
to remind me.
you need to read it, honestly.
So
Hi, Lisa.
the book which I have
Sorry.
read repetitively is Think and Grow Rich. Like 2 3 years back, I have read it over 5 times in a
Yay!
year or two.
Yes, 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 I agree. This is also an amazing book. I mean, there are so many great.
And the 7 habits of highly effective people. So even that, so scheduling and what things are important, your inner circle, outer circle, and responsibilities. How do it's so many things it talks about. It's one of the favorite books of Bill Gates as well.
I'm actually going on and off about reading it, and slowly I'm getting through it, but I love it, honestly. I think
Tanmay, repeat the last book you just said. I couldn't hear.
7 habits of highly effective people. We'll pin it on
Oh,
the
okay.
top.
I heard that. I thought you said something after. Sorry.
Sorry.
I actually I actually have to admit that this book is even more amazing and have greater impact when somebody explains you these 7 habits on their own experience. So, for example, I had the person who explained one of the habits to me and how it changed their life. And I was like, damn, oh my God, this is insane. And sometimes, like, you are in me personally, I get in the state that I read it as a theory, and not always, obviously, but sometimes I get into that automatic reading where I don't anymore receive the information, so I may skip the information. And then this person just told me that, and I was, oh my God, and it actually changed my life as well.
Hmm. So you used to skip information and read it as theory. And what did you do after the suggestion?
No. So there are two aspects. One aspect is the multitasking while reading. So sometimes the attention flows from the book to something else, and you just don't really hear the things that you are listening, right? So, and I probably started reading Seven Habits, and I didn't really hear it anymore. Maybe, and so much changes from the voice and the reader of the book. So sometimes I just don't get whatever the reader is saying because of their voice. And so there was the other aspect, practical aspect. So there's my friend who recommended Seven Habits of highly successful people and took one principle out of that and made an example from my friend's life. And it was like, oh my God, that is so real. And since then, it is just every single time when I would do something out of that, like how it would affect the principle, it would remind me every time I would do that. And it literally changed my life. So I think the practical, like when somebody who you really personally can relate to explains you one of the things they took from the book, it changes than just reading it like
Uh-huh.
audiobook.
So this club is a nice place to do that. People can discuss from experience.
Yes, exactly.
So one of those things like that I had got from this book called Atomic Habits. It so one aspect which I took out and which I implemented, and it was so awesome. So he says like atoms are very small, yet the most powerful. Nuclear blasts are done from the smallest aspects. So if you want to inculcate a habit, you start doing that thing in a very small portion. So if you want to do exercise, just pull yourself for doing it for 2 minutes, meditation for 2 minutes. If you're writing a blog or a book, just sit down and write one page or one paragraph. Or if you're painting something, just take a brush and draw some sketches or something like that. So it takes whatever biggest tasks you have, break it into smaller portions, and then do it. It's easier to hack your mind into doing just for 2 minutes, and then after you start doing, then it's easy. Then you want to do it for more time. So I have been able to do this for meditation and yoga. I did it for 2 years. So I would be just like, okay, I need to do this for 2 minutes, and I would just do it. And there's also another point in it. It's called habit stacking. So you stack one habit on top of the other. So there are some things which we do by default, like having bath, having lunch, going to sleep. So take a habit and plug it with that habit which you're doing on auto mode. So I put the yoga and meditation aspect after bath. So every morning after bath, I used to do the yoga and thing, and it had become a default thing. So just like having bath. So that's another incredible book I would suggest everybody to, if somebody wants to get inculcate a new habit or get rid of some bad habit. So for getting rid of bad habit, he has suggested try to make it difficult as possible for you to do that. So he explains in different situations, and you can do it. So suppose for no fap is like there's a community about it on Reddit as well. No fap is no masturbation and no not seeing porn. So porn has spoiled a lot of lives. It's very addictive for youth, and it's a thing less talked about, but it's a severe thing as well. So if you want to get rid of that habit, try to delete those websites. Try to be away from that situation as much as possible. Analyze the situations where this happens, and detach yourself from those situations. And and so on and so forth. So it was an amazing book. I have been able to do nofap for almost 465 days. So it gives you a different power as well. I mean, you feel different energy with that. So that was a segue, but yes, you should read Atomic Habits.
It is in my library. I just never got to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Lisa, you're saying something.
Well, I like the fact that you share not just like spiritual nonfiction books, but that you mentioned the science fiction, because the book that I'm going to share, that's my favorite. I don't usually read books, but I've reread it so many times. It's to me the kind of book that makes you inspired, like you can do anything, which is a really good kind of book right now. And the title's misleading, and it's really, there are two books, like they're sequels, but they're really just one book. So I would recommend reading them both, especially if you like the first, right? It's called The Warrior's Apprentice. It's by Lois McMaster Bujold. Her last name is spelled Bujold. And, I don't want to give spoilers, but I'll simply say it's a very unusual creative science fiction book. What I love about it is that it's a book where the main person gets enemies to work together. It's a solutions oriented book. The author really loves the characters, but so the main character is a guy who's like 4'9", and he has bones as brittle as chalk, and yet so they could break very easily, and they do frequently, and yet he dives into life and just um, in outside the box ways takes leaps and makes things happen between people, and it's just really wonderful, and funny and deep, and so I'm not really, I don't think, giving a good uh I'm giving too general, yeah, that's it, general description. But The Warrior's Apprentice and The War Game is the book that follows it. They don't feel like a sequel, they feel like one book.
Uh-huh. So you have read science fiction books, and so it's not just about books. Any source of getting information. So we were discussing about podcast also earlier, or some YouTube channel. So thanks for sharing this book, and lovely to have you. So Laura, what kind of genres do you mostly read? Laura, Galiano, Lisa. As Lisa said, she reads science fiction. What is your typical genre of reading?
So there is no way I would read science fiction for myself. And also the movies. Well, first of all, I don't generally watch movies, but when I do, I would not watch horror or science fiction or fantasy. Yeah, that's not my genre. But what I do read is uh, self-development books most of the time. I really love um, obviously psychology. I really love biographies, big time biographies, and history or politics. That would be my main area.
Wow, I would just copy paste that. So yeah, I am also not much into fiction, but I do like watching movies. I watch all kind of movies except horror, so it's not really fun. It's kind of stupid. Horrors are kind of stupid. So um, yeah, self help, business, history. I love history, and there are some podcasts if you want about India and India history or spirituality. I can suggest a few. So, Galeno, what is your genre of reading?
Yeah, it's so close to your horror thing. Apart from that, yeah, I can read everything, of course, and see. Yeah, but the most I like is I was reading before to enter the university so much philosophy, and I was reading about the Stoics. Yeah, that was really really cool. That about Marco Aurelio. Yeah, Marco Aurelio, Seneca, and I don't remember the slave that broke
There was this book
uh,
called Meditations of Marco Aurelio and
yeah, meditation
letters.
of Marco Aurelio. Amazing.
Yes, and letters of Seneca, and so yeah, I've come across that podcast and I've read this book, and yeah, pretty interesting. Oh yes, and I do watch science fiction movies, so I love watching science fiction movies, especially with futuristic technology and time travel ones. I love movies which have got to do with time travel. Reading,
I,
not
I,
much in fiction, but yeah, a lot of movies and videos. Somebody was saying something.
oh, I love science fiction movies that show futuristic, very um, conscious, creative, uh, futuristic future that actually give examples. I think it's wonderful to experience those perspectives.
Yeah, I have a whole playlist on that. One name I can remember now is Her. So it's a it's about an AI who accompanies a man, but she's also learning. So she at the same time learning and she's communicating with all other AIs together, and the romance between them it is futuristic and shows the dark side of AI as well as a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, I read a book called The Silver Metal Lover, and it was a really moving and inspiring. It was a similar thing, a relationship between a human and an AI, and the exploring the concept of whether the AI could learn to love in all aspects, and it was very interesting.
Uh-huh. So I used to watch a lot of movies. These days I'm not watching much. Um, so yes, what are we talking about? One sec, I'll just go to my.
I
Yeah,
actually
don't worry, don't worry. Just what sorry, I forgot as well to mention about the Siddhartha book. It's amazing, Laura. You mentioned you've been on top, and Siddhartha book is something I read before that philosophy. And yeah, of course, that narrative is amazing. How you start the journey, how you go on those rivers, and that parties in all those changes, and that way is brilliant. And as you said, it was my first time. I think if I need to read a book for second time right now, you remember today for me that this gonna be I really busy with the university. I cannot read so much apart from the theories and about that. But yeah, of course, it's amazing book. Thank you for reminding me because it's really lovely.
There's this another book called 10x, which I was talking about earlier, Laura. It's by Grant Cardone, and the other book called Ikigai. So these two books I've read more than once as well.
Ikigai is uh, Ken no, yeah, Ken Shonda or not Honda
Hector Gracia.
or okay. Oh, I'm confusing. Let me just pin
It's
them. And I wanted to say that yesterday, which usually I don't watch movies, but yesterday somehow I felt like watching a movie, and I found this brilliant, brilliant, brilliant movie, which I'm not sure if it was popular because I don't think it was popular. It's called Little Women, and it's sort of based on a true story about this female writer. It's a period drama, female writer, and about how she disagreed with the system that women had to just think about marriage and how to be a nice object and that's it. And she was like, no, I want to be a writer. I don't want to get married just because of the system. And she had three sisters and all the, and it's filmed in a way where it's not timelined like one after the other, but it goes and comes back and forth with the time, and it's just delicious, beautiful, so real and true, and the cast was great, and it's just amazing, and it's directed by a female director.
It is on my to watch list. It has Emma Watson as also, I believe. And
Yes.
I'm so crazy about time travel movies. I've written a blog about it, not the movies, but in general about time travel and all that things. And then I've put in extra link to my playlist of time travel movies. So until give me just 2 minutes, I'll open that.
The Window in Time is one of my favorite recent time travel books. It's I mean, I don't know if you want, trying to think of how to say it without spoiling it. I guess I'll just say that what I really liked about it, without spoiling.
Spoil it.
Oh, you want me to spoil it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a pretty empowered woman ends up, I mean, you want me to say, well, she takes an air balloon ride, and for some reason, it goes into something, and it goes into the past, and she meets an inventor guy there. So they're strong and intelligent characters, which is so rare in any kind of romantic story. And of course, it was a more eccentric and historical tale, so it just had more depth and substance. And I love movies where a person has to be resilient and adjust and be creative and resourceful, and she does that. He's at I guess the historical part is what was those riders that went really fast and delivered the mail. I forgot what they're called, but that's historical in the early US. And so they're at this little stop in the middle of nowhere, and she turns it into a place, where, providing food for the stagecoach, which hadn't been done yet. And she's determined to go swimming in the middle of the night to wash herself, which isn't done then. And it's just, and then, the guy who's the main guy is this inventor, and he has these weird projects, and they have really strong characters. And so I enjoyed it. Window in Time. And just it all gets started by this teenage guy who's screwing around. Then he creates, in the modern times, he's the one that creates the future problems. There's just a lot of things that were atypical about these kinds of stories. Window in Time, really.
Okay, thank you.
I find my spiritual inspiration through fiction. I was thinking of The Little Princess when you were talking about the little woman. That's such a wonderful story about the magic that can happen in real life and keeping.
There's this another movie which I've watched more than once. I usually don't watch movie more than once. So Inception, I've watched it like 3 times. Have you seen it? Have you guys seen it?
I have seen it, but I left it there. Maybe I was too young.
Inception, isn't that with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes.
I mean, it was interesting, but current day movies are so dark and sort of nebulous. I like things with a how shall I say, faith in possibility and human beings, and but there was some interesting twists.
Lisa, so I'm trying to find the movie. Is that Window in Time?
Oh, it's a book. It's a book. And
Oh,
I think it's called Window in Time. I could be wrong, but I think
was
that's
searching
correct.
for a movie too with that name.
I don't know why I made it into a movie.
So, guys, if you are interested in Mahabharata, there is this amazing podcast which I heard last month when I was making that huge artwork of mine. It is called Mahabharata itself. I'll tell you the author's name. So it's such a theatrical way of doing it, music and all this. Sudipta Bhomik, the stories of Mahabharata. You'll enjoy it. So
Oh, sorry.
it's a famous Indian mythology, Mahabharata and Ramayana, and it's a retelling of Mahabharata. So there's huge war in it, and there are a lot of characters in this. And Sri Krishna is the main. He has a main role. Arjun and Pandavas are there. Then there are Kauravas and
Can you pin it?
yes. So these kind of mythologies in India are very popular. So people never get bored of listening to them or reading them. So every year there is a Ramayan performance near Dashera time around India, and Indian government in the lockdown, there are these first TV series of India. Okay, they were first recorded in 1984 or something like that, and they replayed it. They replayed both Mahabharata and Ramayan, and people are getting so sentimental about it. So that was entertainment for Indian folks during the first lockdown.
I like did you I know it's kind of mainstream, but Kama Sutra, the spiritual journey of the
Uh-huh.
people in that movie. It says my connection is poor. I don't know if you can hear me. Um, but also, I would ask you if you can recommend, and I know this is being really specific, but positive Indian or Middle Eastern fiction books, especially Middle Eastern fiction. It's hard to find positive stories. I did just, get some recommendations today. I haven't read them yet, but The Color of Pomegranates was good, maybe more upbeat than I've been able to find. I don't know if you've read that early history, very early history, Middle Eastern story. I don't know if I'm digressing too much here. And there's a cookbook by uh, Naomi. It's called Persia, and she talks about her travels through the Middle East, moving from the Middle East to Canada and going through, indigenous tribes and festivals and ritual and being, welcomed warmly in these just nomadic places and weaves it into the food recipes.
Yeah, that reminded me of a YouTube video. This lady, she gets in books from every country in the world and reads them. Even if they're not available in English, she would get it translated from a friend and do it. And would anybody, Laura or anybody, be interested in doing that?
Yeah. I don't know. She has very generous friends who can just translate a book.
She has already done the process, right? So you can get it from her.
Okay.
Well, I did pursue some Persian librarians to recommend upbeat Persian fiction, which, she's going to give me a list, that hasn't been translated yet. And then she told me of the publisher, where I might be able to arrange something or whatever. But I guess if you're really proactive, you can.
Oh my God. I'm just looking outside the window and there is just beautiful blue sky with clouds, obviously, because it's London. But then there is this cloud, like the raw, not even cloud, but just a mass of clouds. White should be white, but they reflect the sun and they're golden, just like horizon, the line, massive line of gold, and then blue sky and some gray clouds also as well. But it's just so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I can paint it now.
Can you click that?
Yes.
Can you click a photograph and share?
Amazing description. Amazing, Laura.
If I take a picture, it will not give you the same, so you have to imagine it
Imagine.
and create it in your head.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to the room. I really need to jump, but but yeah, it was amazing time. Thank you for all the recommendation. I will definitely try to have a look all those books when I got some time. A pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
It was
Thank
a
you, Galiano, for
pleasure
coming.
to have you also. Okay, so the Lisa, you are asking for a book on India, right? Indian light, good kind of book. So there's this book called Bhyumkesh Bakshi. I will,
Is this fiction?
yes,
Fiction?
it's like more like a detective story. Do you like that?
Okay.
So
Sometimes, usually they're intelligent, detective stories. But it would be interesting in India, for me. So, what's is it in
I'll pin it
English?
on top.
And it is available in English?
Yes, it is. One second.
Oh,
It
good.
says link
Okay.
is not.
It almost sounds like Hercule Poirot going to India.
Yeah,
Trying to think of some nonfiction. I loved reading the biographies of Benjamin Franklin. Practical spirituality, changing the world kind of thing.
yeah. Oh my God. I remember reading Mahatma Gandhi's biography, My Experiments with Truth. That's an amazing book. Everybody should read. So you all know Mahatma Gandhi, right?
You're asking me if I know? Of course. I know. I went through this period where because I loved reading the Benjamin Franklin biography, that I went and read a lot of people, but I didn't think of reading Mahatma Gandhi. I did enjoy the movie that was created many years ago.
So this one is an autobiography. Mahatma Gandhi himself has written it when he was imprisoned, so he got time to write about it. So yeah, it's an autobiography, and he explains about all his incidents and roles in his life. So had right from having a child marriage, and then trying to attempting to do a suicide, and then going serving his parents, then going to England, and how his mother had given him promise to not eat non-veg and not get into other things. So, and his experiments, he does a lot of experiments with dietetics. So for a long time he has only bananas and peanuts, and he keeps trying different things, milk, only milk, and different grains and stuff like that. He also experiments with philosophies and different culture and spiritual books and knowledge from other cultures, all that. Then he shares about his experience in South Africa. He used, until the independence, war of independence, he was helping Britishers. So even when he was in South Africa, he helped British to fight against the Boers. And as not as an army person, but as a service. So he was in the ambulance and work like that. So he used to cure people, take care of them, and get them front and back. And then how he got into politics, or how he was fighting appetite and other cultural issues in South Africa itself. So I always wonder, what would Mahatma Gandhi have done in modern times if he was there in modern times. So there's a fact about him that he used to communicate a lot. He used to write a lot of letters, so much so that he taught himself to write with both hands. So if one hands get tired, he would write with other hand. And in his time in
I like.
Africa, in his time in Africa, he wrote for different newspapers. He learned different Indian languages, Tamil, and tried to get people together with medias like that. So I guess if he was in modern times, he would always be tweeting and writing books and making videos, I guess, to attract people
I
and
think
share
that's a great
information.
exercise. I actually that's something I ask people a lot when they've read The Warrior's Apprentice. If the main character Miles Verkoswikin was alive today, what do you think you would do? And if you were him in today's world, what would you do? Does it give you a different perspective? And also, if he was a woman, what would he be like? I mean, you haven't read the book, but it's a very interesting thought process to.
What is the name again of the book?
first one I recommended today, The Warrior's Apprentice. It
Ah,
isn't. It's not a like war violence book. It's a really bad name for the book, but it's a very inspiring and interesting book. And the person is one of my role models. Um, for just world making and inspiration and undauntable uh, uh, motivation and
so I tried to share Bhumkesh Bakshi. It is not coming online, but you can just search it. Bhumkesh
it,
Bakshi. It's a
and
movie
that's the name
also.
of the biography. Oh no,
No, no,
sorry.
no, no. That is
Uh,
the detective book.
oh, okay.
So name of the biography is My Experiments with Truth. Well, Mahatma.
Cool.
If you Google Mahatma Gandhi autobiography, it'll be the top result. So my experiments with truth. So why he wrote that was his different in different positions. How what was truth for him? What is service for himself? He questions himself and gives example from different situations in his life. So what is right and wrong? So truth, not just about lying and stuff like that, but what is right or wrong? What is ethical, non-ethical? What should be done? Not be done? How to treat people? How what is service and all that? And he adds in incidents from his life and explains his journey like that. And in India also there was a lot of difference between community and castes. So how he got them together, or how he tried to and there was a lot of hygiene and maintain this issues also. So cleanliness. So India has a cleanliness drive on his birth date, and he's uh, Swachhata Abhiyan we have, and it's inspired by him. So there's a lot of thing that person has done, and he's called Mahatma. I guess for that he means he's called Mahatma in India, so you can understand how many great things he must have done. So Mahatma is a great soul to translate in English.
He sounds like a cross between Benjamin Franklin and Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh yeah, oh yes. Leonardo was also a great polymath, into science, into drawing, and so many more things. He had drawn the first design of helicopter as well, and so many things. I had seen a documentary on him. So he used to keep observing, explaining. He was in politics as well. So that's also amazing character to read about.
Read or documentary? Which was the best portrayal if I was someone was gonna do one thing about
Documentary.
Leonardo?
I have not read. I have seen the documentary.
Title?
Uh, I just searched documentary on Leonardo and see
Cool. Okay.
which is the best one or most viewed. I did the same way. So so there's this channel uh, which has biographies on different artists as well. So that's Andy Warhol and the Salvador Dali, Picasso, few Van Gogh. Van Gogh has his own movie as well.
Yeah.
So
I have a question for Laura. Maybe do you have a favorite, most magical book of women's spirituality, goddess energy?
About spirituality, I actually have Carolyn Mace. Not sure if you have ever heard of her.
No?
Let me just pin this. And it's called Sacred Contracts. Oh, turned on. So it's about how we actually choose before coming to this life, how we choose what's gonna happen. Oh no, it's something else. I pinned. Sorry. Share audiobook. And it's about how we choose before we actually arrive to this experience, how we choose our major points that is gonna happen to either learn, teach, experience, release, so many aspects of that, and how it's basically has been, the contracts have been done before. So that's why it's called sacred contracts.
Was there any practice or ritual, or just you just liked her story?
It's more of spiritual philosophy. So she's a philosopher, and
Sure.
I love also Teal Swan. I don't know if you know her. She
Nope.
is. She's so check her out on Instagram. She is, I'd say she's between 30 and 40, and she's the New Age, also philosopher and psychologist, I'd say. I'm just trying to share this book. Why doesn't it work?
Even Big Magic.
What?
I'm gonna go after this because I didn't sleep tonight. I have something that I have to do, and so I just got to get some community before getting it done. So
Absolutely. It was nice to have you and talk to you.
yeah, deep conversation and great recommendations and your different spirits. And Laura's so visually spiritual with her sun sky, morning or blue sky and gold.
Let me just double check if there is something that I haven't forgotten, because I actually had few good things. I have to check my. So I love Louise Hay. Do you know her?
Yes, yes. So that one I know. Wait, let me. Can you say the name of the person who's alive between 30 and 40s, and a little bit about what
Teal.
you like?
Yeah, Teal
Spelling.
Swan. Just let me do this right now.
I try not to do too much of the computer. It's easier for me to just write down the name. I know you want to put it for the replay, but can you spell her name or no?
But just give me 1 second. So, so it's again. Okay, it's Teal, Teal, and Swan as a swan.
Okay.
And she is doing meditations. She's public speaker. She's talking about like everything, inner child, just amazing practices, and I really love her. The other one is Carolyn Mace, and I enrolled to a journey of spirituality, so I was looking for the authors and reading the books, and so after Louise Hay I came across Carolyn Mace.
And it's always like just names until then I actually read it and then they come alive, because
I know.
how do you really pass on a spirit, right? They have that quote about, Socrates could only, you could read his books, but Socrates, you had to be right in front of the fire to really know it. They said.
And also, like Hermann Hesse wrote in Siddhartha, if you try to explain wisdom, it comes in a wrong way. So it's better just to show it like in actions, let's say.
Yeah.
Awesome quote.
Well, hugs to both of you. I must go. Like I said, I didn't sleep this
Thank
night.
you.
Have a wonderful,
Follow library so you will know when we have the other rooms
Yeah,
going
I
on.
clicked. I joined. I was so wonderful to meet.
Fantastic.
It's sometimes hard to find people with substance when I go on Clubhouse. So I lucked out today. So have a blessed, magical, exhilarating day, both of you. And
Thank you for
meet again.
joining, and hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
So, Laura, you mentioned your mom is into art of living. So, there are a couple of good books from Sri Ravi Shankar as well. So,
Oh, she like literally she sends me every day the stuff, like quotes.
so how do you find it?
I mean, I don't like anything that is in out of balance. So I'm like, I literally have this kind of, what's the name? The protective reflex where if you send me like 5 times a day things, I'll be just, it's too much and I will not even look up to that, you know.
I
So
understand.
she got me to the other side. But hey, how is it for you?
It's brilliant. I keep on reading it again and again. So his narration on Bhagavad Gita and Ashtavakra Gita. So read. Maybe you'll have a different impression when you read. So these are epics. These are so in Hinduism there is no. It's not a bibliothel religion. So there's no Bible or Quran. So there are a lot of things over here, a lot of books, lot of philosophies. It's more like a philosophy. Hinduism is more like a philosophy, and it has rituals as well, and a lot of communities, lot of traditions. So Bhagavad Gita is one of the mainstream books, which is widely recognized as the main book of Hinduism, but it is not. But it is very good book to read. So Sri Ravi Shankar has done a narration on it to simplify what is there in that and try to relate it with current times. So there is a audio version also, and there's the physical books also, so you can read that. Another one is
It's
Ashtavakra
the
Gita.
it's the one that you shared in Spotify, right?
Uh, Spotify, did I share it? No.
You shared something like a book on Spotify,
It's
like mythology or
oh yeah, that was Mahabharata. So yeah, good connection. So Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. So it is a scene on the battle, and Arjuna has thrown all his weapon. He's surrendering. He doesn't want to fight his brothers, and in spite the conflict has been going on since long time, and there have been a lot of attempts to negotiate between the both the brothers. The Kauravas have done many wrongful things to Pandavas, sent them away in forest many times. So a lot of episodes like this happen, and it's time of the battle finally. But Arjuna comes from this place that okay, these are just my brothers. How can I fight them? And he's just not willing to do that. And then Krishna explains him about life and the whole Bhagavad Gita is the that particular conversation. So there are like 18 chapters in it, and it talks about subtle body as well as physical, metaphysical, life and death, and so there are so many concepts in it. So you might like the philosophy in it.
I love it. Can you share the can you pin it?
So what happens is this
Or just send it to back channel if
I
you
will
can.
send it on Instagram.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will make a list on Instagram and I'll share it with you because because of many reasons. Anyways, so this Gita is for person who is in a tough situation. It's for everybody, but when uh, there are crises of soul searching or what is right, what is dharma. So Bhagavad Gita is a lot about dharma, what the righteous thing to do, right or wrong thing to do, and there's a lot of things in that. So I have to keep rereading it to explain it that very well about all the concepts. And this is number one. Number two is Ashtavakra Gita. So Ashtavakra is a saint who has 8 bends in his body. Sort of he's crooked due to a backstory, but he goes to a king. So Gita is basically a conversation between two people. So there are many different Gitas here. So Bhagavad Gita is there, Ashtavakra Gita is there. There are many Gitas. So Ashtavakra Gita is a conversation between a king in his court and a saint. So this king is in a position of okay, he has done everything in his life. He's taking care of his whole empire, and he has this what is what is to be done in life, and he discusses philosophy with the saint. So one is a situation on a battlefield, do or die or stuff, a situation like that, and the other one is on in a palace. So both come from a different context, but they are a awesome read. So the whole topic of karma, you hear a lot of karma in the talk, right? It comes from Bhagavad Gita. So what is good karma? What is karma actually? And so on and so forth.
It's very interesting. Yes, please, please, please send me on Instagram.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
And if you want to read, if you want to know more about Indian mythology, there is another author which I would suggest. His name is Devdutt Patnaik. So he's a MD doctor. He's a medical doctor turned author. So he has a lot of illustrations. His books are short, like 200 pages, but a lot of books are there. And he talks about different mythologies, especially Indian ones, and different stories from different aspects. Try to correlate it, and he explains it in a what he picturesque way. He has his illustrations. So this book, which I've read about, his first book was Business Sutras. So sutra is two. Sutra is a points or hints what to do, sort of. So Business Sutra, he talks about different strategies in business and whole management philosophy.
I need that. Send me this now.
And it's a very every chapter is just 2 3 pages. So like you can come back to it, read again, or and what he does is he explains the theory, he puts in a story in it, and then at the end there is a real life explanation of the management. The boss is in an office, his assistant comes to him, the problem, the solution, and the comparison with the thought or the story. So it's on those lines. Thank you for listening in. We hope you found something of value from this conversation. If you would like to support us, please consider buying our NFTs. If you want to join in for the next podcast and ask questions and participate, please join our clubs on Clubhouse, Club Rocklaz and Club Library. Links to the NFTs as well as Clubhouse are mentioned in the description. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.